about her already this morning, so we're going to let her chat at us for a little bit.
Thank you very much. Wake up, wake up, wake up. So I probably need a microphone. Oh, that's a little bit different size, I guess. Can you shift the size? Because otherwise, everything is going to look really funny. Like you smoked, but you didn't. Okay, meanwhile, I'm going to start. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Olga Feldmeier. I'm CEO and co-founder of Smart Valor. And today I have 2 speaking slots, one here and one at Money 2020. And ask me where I feel home. Thank you so much. Because as guys pointed out in the panel before, and this is true, it's now between them and us, right? All these corporates, all these big companies, all this money, people with money. And we're challenging them, right? And I think we have a chance to really make it happen. And I say that because, you know, I was a banker myself before. I used to work for UBS. I was in charge of Central and Eastern Europe for wealth management. I used to work for Barclays Capital. And, you know, kind of like the bottom line, what brought me into this space is basically 2 things. First of all is, well, I grew up in Ukraine, and we went through the hyperinflation. We lost everything, 10,000% inflation. We were like completely fucked in proper English, right? And then basically the second experience was, as I was a wealth manager and a banker, I had a friend in Ukraine, my school friend, and he built up a successful business, and some other people liked his business, and they said to him, well, so how about you sell us your business for 50,000, you know? And he said no, and then, you know, it's all mafia, like government and business elites, they're all working together. So, and he understood that they will take his business away from him. So he found me and said, Olga, you're in Switzerland, you're working for UBS, right? Help me, like, I can now sell this business, and I need them to channel this 500,000 into Switzerland and open a bank account. Can you help me? And you know what, guys? I couldn't. And who knows why I couldn't help him? Is it because his money was dirty, or no? It was just because 500,000 is not the money that any Swiss bank will care about to open a bank account. In Switzerland, you know, the place for safe, rich people, right? You start talking about banking account if you bring like 3 to 5 million, right? This is where I learned, you know, that today we live in a world there is like safety and protection and great investment products for rich, and there is nothing for the rest of us. And I thought I'm gonna change it. So a little bit background. Well, this is a general presentation. I don't need to tell you guys. You guys know better than I what is tokenization and what is a blockchain and internet of value, right? It's just like, does this work in this direction? Yeah, so it's still the wrong format, guys. So basically, if you look at capital and investments today, you know, whereas internet is a global and information is provided to everybody, the value is not, right? The value is bounded by local regulation, capital controls, and so on. If you're in China, your government will tell you that you're not allowed to invest in foreign companies, right? If you're in many other places, you don't even have a bank account. All your wealth is something that you wear on you or store in your house. Well, in some other countries, like this one, some other people will tell you that you're not allowed to invest in crypto. Otherwise, we'll shut down your bank account, right? So, and this is in the country of free. What to say about the rest, right? In a country like my country, Ukraine, you know, you can get involved in armed conflict and then they will need to print more money because otherwise they go bust, and then again, all of your wealth is disappearing, right? So for all of this stuff, crypto is great, right? Because crypto is a borderless capital, right? And it's a way, it's basically the invention that is gonna fundamentally shift the balance of power between people and government. And this is why I'm personally here. And there was actually a very famous Nobel Prize winning economist, Milton Friedman. How many of you know Milton Friedman? We are smart guys here, right? and he said, and by the way, that was like 13 years ago, he said that internet is going to be one of the major forces to reduce the role of government, right? And then further down, you can see it. Still working on the format, hopefully. He said the other important thing that is missing in this equation is some kind of digital money that will help to, that will make possible to move the money from A to B and B to A without them knowing each other. And he said that end of 80s, right, 90s. And I think it's amazing that he was right, and it's pity that he never experienced blockchain. He died before Bitcoin was invented. But to me, it seems like those are three things that are going to fundamentally change the balance power between people and government. It's internet, it's digital money, cryptocurrencies, and it's tokenization. Because tokenization is the third one. Tokenization is digitalization of any kind of value, not just money, right? And that opens completely new opportunities. So who doesn't know what tokenization is? Here I put the question in the other way. Who doesn't know it? Normally I ask who knows what tokenization is. Who doesn't know? What do we say? What do we mean by tokenization? Everybody knows, right? So I issue a token, and this token is backed by some kind of value, right? It can be physical value, it can be house, it can be share in a company, any kind of like real asset, right? Also intellectual property rights. So, and why this is great? Well, because this is how we can transfer value in a global peer-to-peer network without intermediaries, right? Without all these guys. And there are a lot of them, right? Custodians, banks, exchanges, oh my goodness, centralized registries. All those people that kind of like, well, I consider them to be economic slack and places where most people cannot prosper and cannot develop and have fulfilling professional life. Probably the people in the other room at Money 2020 might think differently, but I know very few people that are long-term really happy being part of this machine. Okay, so well, that's how the transfer of value happening today, and on the blockchain, you don't see it, it's below there, it's peer-to-peer, it's just from me to you, right? And this is not just how the money can move, right? This is also how any kind of value can move, right? A house, a picture, a diamond, right? In a tokenized form. And this transformation of ownership, you can see this, but this is a nice picture of old vessels. Around 4 years ago, the shares were invented for the first time. So before that, we only had things that are around us. And for the first time back then, we could invest in something that is outside of our reach, right? It's some ship traveling to other places. And the same transformation of ownership that happened with invention of the share, I think the same truly innovative and you know, shift in how we deal with ownership is going to happen with tokenization. So what is the size of the opportunity? If you look at numbers, unfortunately you can see only part of them. So whereas in crypto we are talking about billions, right? So there is like, I don't know how much now, 30 billion was raised in ICO this year. There is market cap of 300 billion, 800 billion coming to 300 billion. We'll be back to 800 billion very soon, I think. in the real assets, we are talking about trillions, right? And real asset, equity, commodities, this is like completely different numbers. And if you think about tokenizations, that even a fraction of those real assets in trillions, right? Real estate, 230 trillions, right? Even a small fraction of these assets is going to be tokenized and become crypto. What will this do to the market cap of crypto assets or assets on the blockchain, on-chain? Right, so it's a huge opportunity. Well, and with that, we're coming to what we do. We are based in Switzerland. Well, couldn't let it go. Switzerland is a nice country to live, and we have a very crypto-friendly jurisdiction. Regulators on our side, and would like to help us to establish basically a marketplace, online investment platform for digital assets, right? So digital assets, native digital assets, plus tokenized real assets. This is what we do. We have a core team by now of 38 people, founded in 2017. And we are, by the way, hosted by Thomson Reuters. So we sit in premises of Thomson Reuters, one of the biggest information service provider, financial information providers worldwide. Well, investments on the platform, of course, tech companies, shares in a, so how do we call it, CTO, security tokens, right? Security tokens in a best company. We would like to be like the top 1% listing venue for the very best security tokens offering. Of course, also blockchain infrastructure, real estate, non-blockchain related infrastructure, but also crypto funds and private equity and venture capital funds. Here, I believe personally, the potential is the biggest because all of this stuff is pretty much illiquid. This is alternative investment space from the banking perspective, right? So there is a very low liquidity in those assets if you buy, you know, if you're a limited partner in a venture capital fund, right? So you're stuck with 7 to 8 years there is no liquidity, you cannot get out. So think about tokenized form of participation, right? On our platform, we have a set of smart contract-based auctions, right? So within an auction, if you hold a stake in a private equity or venture capital fund, you can sell a portion of your holdings in an auction and other people can bet and kind of like purchase. So we create a secondary market liquidity in an assets where there wasn't secondary market at all, right? So this is something new, something that we never had before. Okay, so next one. Oh, doesn't always. Where should I put it? There or here? How do we do that? Okay. So what is behind the Smart Valor in terms of tech? So we have 3 components. One is the Smart Valor exchange. So it's basically full-blown cryptocurrency exchange that we have built. On the other side, it's a wallet and vault, right? So custody. We built this one jointly with Ledger. We are implementing their enterprise-grade vault solution. And the third part is the Valor protocol. And this Valor protocol is basically, you know, kind of a set of smart contracts that helps, that defines the whitelisting of the wallets, transfer of ownership, but also a stable coin, so-called Swiss franc stable coin we are currently working on. I think we're going to be the first banking institution to issue a real stable coin backed by Swiss franc. And Swiss franc, I don't know if you guys know, but it's the most stable currency around the world. It's safe haven currency. When everything in the world economy goes down the drain, the Swiss franc is going up, right? So this is a big thing. And we need it for our platform, but also a lot of other crypto exchanges need just a better stable coin and some alternative to US dollar, just to try to be able to go outside of US banking system and correspondent banks and all of this stuff. Okay, so regulatory-wise, this is the strongest part. We are already a financial intermediary in Switzerland. We received a license in Liechtenstein to operate as an exchange. We applied for a banking license in Liechtenstein. So everybody who is looking for a bank account, you might want to be my friend very soon. And what else? Well, we have a very senior team. We closed already first and second pre-sale round of Valor token, raised around 5 million. Is gonna launch the final pre-sale round in November. I would like to invite you all to learn more and how you can participate. And with that, also my conference coming up in Zurich in 5 days. Oh my goodness, and I'm still here. So this is the biggest blockchain conference in Switzerland, 1,400 people last time, and let's see how it goes this time, but a lot of great people. And if any of you still have a chance, I'm happy to invite you. I have a card with a free ticket. Just come to me and I give you a free ticket. I'm very happy to involve more of the real crypto folks, right? So, and with that, I think I'm done. Please check out the website and talk to me if you want to be part of it. Thank you so much for your attention.
Thank you very much. We're going to move.